All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today for the SureDone webinar, discovering how to best list on eBay and also on eBay in bulk. And I'm going to also show you eBay templates if you're not familiar with that. We're going to go over the single listing settings, the bulk listing settings, how to create your spreadsheet, how to best actually put together how to add an item, and also how to edit items, etc. And if you are interested in adding in instances, which is multiple eBay accounts, we're going to solely focus on how to add multiple eBay accounts. We are going to have a webinar on how to list on Amazon. That's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow at, I believe it's 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And Brian is going to be showing you guys how to best list on Amazon. So to get started here, I'm actually going to show you through one of our test accounts. And whenever I jump in here, I'm going to go over to settings and then channels. Now, I'm going to just briefly go through some of the settings. Maybe some of these settings just don't make sense to you. So that's where I want to make sure that everybody understands what is going on here and how you can best set it up in your account. So whenever I get over here under settings, channels, you see here eBay main and eBay clothing. I actually have two instances of eBay in here. I also have two Amazons, but we're going to disregard that for right now. So just so you know, with eBay settings, they are completely separate. So if you go and add in an instance, you have to go and set all of the settings that are completely separate. It's as if you haven't ever set your eBay settings when you first set your instance settings here. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to go into just one eBay account and show through this. Just to verify, can you guys message that you can hear me okay? I want to make sure that it's not too low for you. If it is low, I'll try to raise up the volume here a little bit. Cool. Great. You guys are saying you can hear me. Perfect. Okay. So the first things first, ignore eBay sync item level. Those should be on. Token. If it's valid, then it'll say valid. If it's not valid, you click revoke token, which removes the connection between eBay and SureDone. And then if you go and click authorize is what it would say afterwards, it would take you right to eBay where you can reconnect with your eBay account, making it valid again. Something to know is eBay does automatically revoke your token once a year. So if all of a sudden you're like, hey, why can't I list onto eBay? This might be the reason is because eBay revokes it once a year. The one piece I'm going to ask that you guys don't touch is because it can potentially mess things up, would be your import section. This import section, it's actually quite finicky if you already have your items in SureDone and you're just trying to import updated listings or something like that. You can potentially do this, but if you didn't, for instance, if you didn't select skip other channels and you have two eBay accounts, two Amazon accounts, let's just say for instance, you would actually import and then list all of those, all of your imported items to all channels. So this is a very touchy thing. If you have to import and you don't know exactly what you're doing, feel free to contact us. Go to suredone.com/support, talk to one of our support guys, and we want to be able to make sure that we import your items the correct way if you need to use this. Site ID, it's very obvious. Listing time, type, I don't think I need to go over this. Returns, the only reason why we'll go over this is because if you want to set the returns as this is the only thing we accept as far as returns, you can go ahead and set this here. Otherwise, we'll go over the return profile down here in a second. You can put a restocking fee. If you want to charge that, it actually does by a percentage. This is all done directly within eBay, but we give you the option to do a one-time returns section here as well. Autopay, if you by chance require immediate payment, you're doing a buy it now or a fixed price listing, I should say, not buy it now. If you're doing fixed price listings and you require immediate payment and the category allows for it, you could toggle this on, and this is all default. Now, keep in mind that this is default settings, not necessarily set it and forget about it, and that's it. That's good to go. These are all default settings, so you could potentially turn off auto pay on a single item in the single item listing. Out of stock control, and also where is it? Out of stock control, and I'm trying to remind myself what it is. The other one it was out of stock. I'm sorry. Let's see here. We have out of stock control, and there it is, max stock field. There it is. I'm going to cover these two right now. Let's just say that you have 10 items. It may be more, maybe less, but you have a consistent 10 items because you have a vendor that you bring in more items, and maybe it gets down to 2 items and you reorder, kind of a thing. Or let's just say you only want to show that you have 2 items on the eBay listing. This is where we have the out of stock control and also the max stock field. Now, max stock field, you would create a custom field by going into settings, advanced, and creating a max stock field. You would select that field, and let's just say you wanted to max show in eBay that you have 2 products, even though you have 1,500. So you want to just make it look like to the buyer that this is all you have. You only have 2. So that's where you would potentially use the max stock field. Now, in contrast here, that's the max stock, but then out of stock control. So let's say you know that you're going to get more of this particular product in. Great. If it happens to drop down to 0 because you weren't keeping an eye on the stock levels, or you just had a mass sale, maybe you went onto eBay deals and you were just able to sell 1,500 items all in one day. That's where out of stock control, if it hits 0, you do not discard that eBay listing ID. You still retain the eBay listing ID. It just goes into a disabled function. Now, this was something that only SureDone was doing. Just recently, eBay put the ability on eBay's side to be able to do out-of-stock control. So this is, again, this is relatively new for eBay to launch, whereas SureDone has had this in for quite a while now. Use variation images and defaults. We're actually going to go over variations next week. If you are available on Tuesday, we're going to do a variations webinar as well. The very next thing that I want to talk about is payment, return, and shipping profile. We're going to disregard extend holiday returns because right now that doesn't apply, but I'm sure around October time we're going to hear more about eBay's holiday return policy if you wanted to extend your returns. So I've had a lot of flack from people about the payments, return, and shipping profiles, the business policies. I've only heard a lot about it because myself, I'm also a seller too, and I've seen some issues with their business policies. Now, that was in the past, and moving forward, eBay is actually pretty much requiring these profiles to be created. Whether you use business policies or not, eBay still uses the business policies. Honestly, it's just hidden from you. So the better thing to do would be to utilize the tools that eBay has given you. Now, keep in mind, after this webinar, I'm going to send you links on how to activate or set up these business policies. I'm actually going to go into my eBay account over here and show you what it looks like if you've never actually seen this. If you go to accounts and then business policies, and if you don't see it here, we actually do have the link in our guide section. Again, I'm going to send this to you as well. So if you go into here into business policies, you scroll down here, you can create the different policies. Now, in my case, whenever business policies first came out, everything created its own business policy. I had thousands of policies. I felt like it was overnight. It wasn't managed very well, but they've really, really fixed this entire process up. If you're not using business policies, I strongly suggest jumping back in here. All right, Brett, what's a business policy? I'm going to go to create policies. Let's go with a shipping policy. That's probably the most used policy is the shipping policy. What do you do with the shipping policy? Let's just say I'm going to do USPS. Let's go to UPS ground, and we're doing a flat rate of $6. Not likely, but maybe let's just say that's it. You could also do calculated, etc., add a handling time, and you could even label this too. Let's call it $6 UPS. And maybe you also do international shipping. You could add that as well in here too. So once you're done, you click save. You've just now created well, if I actually did this right, here we go. Great. Save. Now, whenever you go into here, you will see a $6 UPS policy. You jump back into SureDone, and it's not going to automatically just show up right here. You actually have to hit refresh profiles. Now, once you do that, what we're doing is we're calling up eBay. Hey, is there anything new? There is something new, the $6 UPS shipping profile. Now you can set this within the single item listing. Whenever you're going through it, you can easily select that, and you don't have to go through and select every single thing. You can make this as robust as you want. If you're doing calculated, you could specify that, especially for international shippers. There's quite a few of you guys on here, I believe. You can specify that you do USPS priority to these countries or expedited to these countries, etc. So that's why I strongly suggest using eBay's tools, because we just link right up with them, and it's less work for you guys whenever you get over here in a SureDone and you're just throwing them in here. Now, discounts versus strike-through. What in the world is the difference? If you're not familiar with it, let me jump into a listing. So discounts. If you filled in MSRP, just throwing out numbers here. If MSRP is $100 and the price that you are listing it for is $79.99. Great. So it's actually going to show you that you are listing it as a discounted price on eBay. Now, there's another thing that eBay offers is a strike-through price. Forget about this for right now. Let's say a strike-through price, you're doing $10 off. If you have a price of $79.99 and then a sale price of $69.99, and you have this turned on, then that means that it's going to show a strike-through price of $79.99 crossed out $69.99. It's going to show, and actually this increases your best match search algorithm as well. So using either discounts or strike-through, either way, however you're going to do it, whether it's entering the MSRP and then the price would be the discount. But I think even closer, and I can't say this is absolutely true, but this is what my assumption is, that if you're doing a strike-through price of entering a price and then a sale price, that would increase on the best match for eBay. Moving forward, we got listing relist. I'm going to jump back over to here. So if you are going to be listing auction style, generally this is for auction style. If you do 7-day listings, let's just say, and you want to continuously relist, hang on, is that right? With the listing relist, yeah. If you want to make sure that when you're relisting an auction listing, it would recognize that eBay is saying, okay, this is a relisted item. Generally, this was so you could get your relist credits back. Because if you listed it the first time and it didn't sell, you listed it a second time and it did sell, you would get your relist fees back on the first listing. Well, unfortunately, that did change as of May 1st. eBay now charges on a per listing basis. If you're not familiar with eBay's fees that have just recently changed, I would suggest going to SureDone.com and then /blog. SureDone.com/blog, and you'll see spring updates. Actually, when you go in here, you'll be able to see all of the different prices and links right to the listing fee updates and everything like that. So that was the main reason, was it was a benefit. If you relisted auction style listings, you would get your fees back. Well, now you're just charged every time. So it's there if you want it to recognize that it's a relist, or you can make it not recognize the listing and make it a brand new listing each time. Scratching through auction style. Now, if you do best offer, let's say you do fixed price, make your best offer, you could by default have this on, and you could auto accept a certain price or auto deny a certain price. If you accept more than just PayPal, and let's say you have authorized.net and you have it registered through eBay, you could select payment gateway. Payment instructions. The difference rate means if you wanted to adjust your pricing based on, let's say, a spreadsheet that you brought in, you wanted to adjust it by 1.25 or something like that, it would adjust all of that. Max stock field, I already covered that. Currency, everything. If you're a long-time SureDone user, this is actually new. You can set a currency on every single channel within here. So if you have 2 eBay accounts, and you want to accept USD on your eBay.com account, and you want to accept CAD on your eBay.ca account, you can actually separate that here. And also, if you want to work with a charity, you could enter this information here as well. I think this is all pretty basic information. Again, this is all default information. So this can be changed on a per item basis. This is just setting the default. Global shipping, if you're doing eBay's global shipping program, GSP. If you do any freight, get it fast. This is all just basic default stuff. If you're not sure what it is, you can click on the question mark and it'll take you right to additional information. Fitment, we're going to cover eBay parts in a whole nother webinar because that is a beast. To be able to understand how in the world eBay parts works, if you're not familiar with it, we will be working with eBay Fitment and explaining how it can best work for your store, for your parts up in the future. Same thing with variations as well. Talking about the variations, this will be covered in another webinar here. Condition notes, I think it's self-explanatory. Now, if you have an eBay store subscription, I think it's $15, $16 a month. I don't think they changed it. You can import your eBay store categories in here. Now, if you partner with us and you have a SureDone storefront, you already have, let's just say you already have 200 categories created within SureDone. I'm sorry, you already have 200 categories created within eBay. You don't want to recreate those, but yet you want them on your SureDone storefront. That's the purpose of this right here. You would be able to import the categories and then convert them into the storefront categories. Now, eBay templates. There's quite a few of you guys that don't have a template. What I can show you, what I mean by a template is an HTML display of what the description section is going to look like. Let me show you an example here. So this is a customer. I blanked out some of their information. You can create a visual that would go into your eBay description. So what it does is you take the description section, the product description, and you could use our Twig templating engine and enter in whatever the long description is. Now, as you can see right here, we have the condition note, the part brand, manufacturer part number. You can use any section, any field that you use in SureDone can be built within this template. So if you have a designer that can make you a template, all you have to do is give them access to our Twig templating engine, and they would be able to create you a nice dynamic template that would display the images, whatever size you want them in, etc. So again, I'm going to email you guys that. All of that information is actually right there in the guides section. You'd be able to go to Guides, Templating Engine Docs. I'm going to send you the link to be able to get there. And this is all a designer would need to understand what it is that can be used throughout the template. Everything below Upload New Template, this is all old school stuff. So older customers that have been with SureDone for a while, they probably filled in all this information right here. So disregard any of this. And that's that. That is the eBay settings. I don't want to take too much more time on that. I wanted to be able to show and explain what all of that is if you weren't quite familiar with those sections there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just go straight through listing an item on eBay as a single item, and then we're going to go into bulk. So a lot of these fields, they correlate with each other. So in this case, if you have brand, we'll say Nike, and size, we'll say 10.5. And color, we'll go with black. And we'll stick with that. So let's just say that's that. And then what's going to happen is once you open up the item specifics, because I will select a shoe, once I open up the item specifics, it'll actually ghost these particular fields down there. I'm going to go ahead and type in Nike shoes up here. And that's that. We're going to leave it at that. And I'm going to jump down by clicking right here. I also only wanted to select that I'm going to be listing on eBay main, eBay clothing. And I'm going to click here and jump down here. Now, as you can see, this was duplicated. And if this was the full 80 characters, great. It's actually going to use that same title. If I wanted something different than what the general title is, maybe your general title is completely short. Nike shoes, you know exactly what you're talking about. Perfect. Now we can actually fill out this to be the full 80 characters long kind of a thing. If you see a default setting, you'll probably see it with this little X. In this case, we have US. If I wanted to select a different site by chance, you'd be able to click the X and give you another option. Toggle on and off best offer. When you toggle it on, that means you're doing a fixed price item. And you have a price of $79, and then actually, scratch that, we have a strike-through because I activated strike-through of $69.99. We're going to go down here and do a best offer auto accept price. This means that without having to manage it, you would be able to type in, I will accept over $60, any price over $60. Probably not, but it's just saying if that were the case, then great. If you don't even want to entertain anything below that, you could actually do best offer minimum price, $59.99, and anything. Let me span it out. Maybe in between $59 and $60, you want to maybe feel it out, think about it, but anything below $59 automatically declined. That's what this would be for here. Immediate payment, if you were offering everything that goes along with the right category. This is all within eBay. You would have to research immediate payment and understand what eBay does or does not allow here. Out of stock control, I already covered that. eBay category search, we'll go with Nike shoes, see what it pulls up. When I select that, yep, men's shoes athletic, perfect, fills in the category ID, and it's going to drop down right down here, all the specifics. Remember when I said the brand was going to automatically populate in here? Perfect. Color, if I did style, athletic, and you see, if you notice, I just started typing and it automatically populated this right here. Let me just back up and see what all so this is populated directly from eBay. When I start typing in words, it'll automatically populate the certain fields in here. Makes it super quick. So it also, if let's just say all you do is list shoes, maybe you really want to have in your custom fields color, brand, style, etc. Even though some of those are already up here in general, let's just say you wanted all of these specifically. If I click the add button, it'll create a custom field every time we do this. That way you would know that you could easily just go down to custom fields and fill all that in and know that it's going to automatically populate here. So that is that. And then template, again, if you had multiple templates. Some of our clients actually have clothing template, electronics template. They had a designer create multiple templates. This particular account does not have any templates, but if it did, I'd be able to pull up clothing, or I'd be able to pull up electronics, etc. eBay store subscription, again, if this one had it, you would be able to select from the drop down the store category in here. Now, keep in mind, with custom description, this may be a little bit deceiving. We may need to be able to change the title of this, because if you go and start adding in a custom description of Nike shoes are great. Okay, this is actually going to override whatever you had, not only whatever you had in the full description up here, but it's also going to override your template as well. So if you have a custom template, or maybe you're using a SureDone default template, which automatically displays the images directly below the description, or I'm sorry, above the description. If you put anything in here under custom description, it's going to override that completely. So if you have custom HTML, this completely adjusts it. So only if you know what you're doing should you use the custom description section here. Now, going to the profiles that we were talking about before, we can easily select payment profiles, return profiles. I didn't have any defaults selected, but so let's just say PayPal 1, returns accepted, buyer pays, 14 days money back. Yeah, let's just say those are the two options there. It's easy to select them if you don't already have them set as default. Now that we're done with that, that's everything up until we go to shipping, media, etc. But as far as the other settings, this would be the second eBay account. I could make it completely different, change the site, wherever it is that I need to list to, even change the price around, etc. So I'm going to jump down here to media, and this is where you would upload images, weight, dimensions, etc. So as far as shipping profiles go, if you have created a shipping profile and it's calculated shipping, you have to make sure that you enter in a weight, because if you don't enter in a weight, it obviously won't, shoes aren't 10 pounds, let's go with 3. It obviously won't be able to do any calculations. Same thing with dimensions as well, 16, 12, 9. And yeah, so if you're gonna actually do a calculated shipping and you have already selected that, then yeah, you need to enter in that information. So that would be something like that. And if you noticed, once I selected it, the other options for domestic shipping, etc., all of that truncated. It disappeared, so you don't have to deal with that. So if I hit don't use profile, bam, you see all the other information here. But honestly, if you use the same stuff all day long, USPS priority or UPS ground. Use the same options. It just makes sense to create a shipping profile so you're not selecting this multiple times. This is way more than you should have. This was just because I haven't cleaned this up at all. But you as a typical seller, I bet you probably have maybe 4 or 5 options. And especially if you have multiple employees that are listing, that just makes life easier to have flat rate profiles and calculated profiles. And it's just as simple as selecting an option there. Let's say you didn't use that. That's where you could still select everything just like we were saying, UPS ground, packaging options, etc. So that is the entire shipping section right here. And as far as custom fields go, again, if you have certain custom fields that if we were to hit the plus sign above, you'd be able to see those sections here. And then we would click add to be able to go to list it directly on eBay. That is the single item editor. And next, I'm actually going to show you how to do bulk. So I'm going to go over here to bulk uploads, products, bulk uploads. Something I'm going to show you, I'm also going to send this to you in the email as well, is we have something right here that could make a little bit better sense as far as this is. Well, let me scroll back over. This is a good informational guide to creating a bulk spreadsheet. Now, it doesn't need to be color coded. It's only color coded so it shows you what is mandatory for upload, universal, storefront, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, etc. So when you have an action of add, edit, start, and relist, delete. What does that look like? That actually looks like just action equals add. And I'll show you that here in another spreadsheet real quick. And one of the identifiers has to be either the GUID, which is assigned by SureDone generally, the SKU, or the ID number. Stock is your quantity, price, etc. There's so many fields that you can actually, let me scroll back over to the eBay section. There we go. So many fields that you could manage. You could add them with a spreadsheet that you don't have to go through that same listing process that I just showed you. I just spent about, I think, about 5 minutes showing you how to actually go through each of those sections. You could do that in bulk if you're going to go to the same eBay duration. Let's just say you do GTC or 7 days on every single listing. You could easily create a spreadsheet to make sure that everything is set up that way. So I'm going to give you access to this, and it also explains, like I said, if let's say you do eBay AutoPay, it's not, you don't type in eBay AutoPay, you simply type in true or false, and or blank, and it'll use your default options. All right, let's show you a real example here. I pulled this spreadsheet, and all I pulled whenever I did the export was SKU, stock, price, and title. Title just so I can see what in the world I'm working with. So whenever I pulled it, I just all I did is add a column there. I'm going to do action equals edit. Now, what does this mean? You have SKU, stock, price, title, and this one has an equal sign. What does that mean? That actually means that whatever I'm telling it to do up here, it's applying to all of these columns straight down the line. So in this case, if I do eBay AutoPay and I want to apply that to every single item, all I got to do is do equals true. I do not have to type in true. Whoops, if I can even type right. I don't have to do this at all. So it's as simple as if I'm applying something straight down that column, all I got to do is type in equals and then whatever that amount is. Let's do another one. Let's say eBay location. Let's do another one. Let's see. eBay site ID would be US, and this is I'm glad it shows this, US equals 1. So site ID, if you for some reason listed on multiple site IDs in one place, it would be as simple as doing that. And no, this is actually not a new method in V2. We're just making sure that you understand that this is how it works and how it has been working. Now, one more step. If you are listing on multiple eBay accounts, eBay 1 skip, eBay 2 skip. we have these two options as well. And let's say you do want to skip this entire list on this one. Maybe you don't want to list any of these on eBay 1. You can do eBay 1 skip equals true without having to actually go into here and then click skip like this. Or, let me get back to my spreadsheet. You don't necessarily have to do it across the board. Maybe you know for sure that this one's true, this one's true. You can actually do it all in line like this as well. So this is just another way that we're giving you the opportunity to be able to skip certain channels either straight down the column or on a single item basis kind of a thing. Once we're finished, again, action equals edit, action equals add if the items don't exist, action equals delete. I would strongly suggest not using that. There's 5 total actions, but if you are doing action equals edit, I strongly suggest you leave the identifier because you have the action, the identifier, the unique identifier, and if you're not changing stock, price, title, remove them. This way, there's no chance of anything happening. The only things you're actually doing, let's just say, like I'm saying, where we have action equals edit, the SKU, and then these options here, remove what you're not editing. Only have these if you're adding items. Have the minimal amount of columns if you're editing. That's the best way to do it. And again, I'm going to send you this. And outside of that, the only other thing I'm going to show you is how to add a variation. And if you want to go deeper into bulk management, that's going to be next Thursday. And Brian's going to be taking care of that one as well. That dude is the master. He created the spreadsheet that I just showed you, showing all the different columns. Going back into channels, let's just say I'm going to add a third eBay account. I'm going to add that, and we'll say account 3. It's as simple as that. If I click Save Settings, it's going to show here in a second. It'll show a third option, eBay Main, eBay Clothing, eBay Account 3. I would have to go and set all the settings. And whenever I start to list on a single item, you'll see that option as well. Simple enough to remove an option. I'm going to click that, Save Settings, and it's removed it from the database here. That is going through each of these different sections. And again, I have a very detailed email that's going out to everybody that has a lot of links to be able to follow up on a lot of these things. And we actually have them all in the guides section as well. We're currently working on making a way to search through the guides in here. So that's coming real soon here. Outside of that, does anybody have any questions?